What is the most significant memory you have from your childhood?
Most significant memory of my childhood is that, as a young kid, I really didn't get involved with any sports or anything like that. Basically, by the time I was 15 years old, I was in and out of detention homes. I was in trouble. I was drinking and doing drugs. And by the age of 15, my mother and father decided they had enough of it. And they stuck me in what's called Talbot Hall, which is a recovery center. And I spent 28 days there. And what had happened is it changed my life. I finally realized that I had a problem, and I didn't realize what I was doing to my family and to myself and to my life.
What do you remember from the detention hall and Talbot Hall, and how did it change your life?
Now, the detention hall was like jail. Bologna sandwiches. You're locked in a room most of the day. And then you get an hour to go upstairs. I remember it was upstairs, they had a gym, and I'd sit around, and I was scared to death. I didn't know what I was going to do. But once I got out of there, I changed my life. I stopped doing drugs and alcohol. I started getting good in school. And that was my high school year. So from 10th through 12th grade, I buckled down and started doing what I was supposed to do, and I got through high school and I graduated. So I learned a lot, plus my mother and father also learned a lot because they joined a group which was very unknown at the time. It was called Tough Love. And they were even asked to be on Phil Donahue on the show. And they were on back then it was a show called 2020, and they were on that show. And I remember watching them on TV because you could see them. They were doing a news coverage here in Columbus because they also met down at Talbot Hall. And even after I had left there, my mother and father did it for 5 years. And they still worked. They were the presidents of Tough Love. And my father also ran a 1-800 hotline to help other parents through this recovery system. So yeah, it was a really good thing that happened because in those days they just started realizing that young adults were really getting addicted to drugs and alcohol.
So could you say that your time spent in detention halls helped other people because of your parents joining that group and having the hotline?
Oh, over the years, yes, because now I pass on what happened to me to other people who wants to, get their life together, and I tell them my experiences.
What are you doing today to stay sober and recovered?
Oh, I continue to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. There for a while, I was for about 3 years. Me and another buddy was going down to Maryhaven, which is a treatment center, which is a 5-day detox treatment center. And we'd go in there on Mondays, and we'd meet with them every Monday and talk to them and try to help them through, because that's the toughest time is when you first come off of it, because you don't know where you're going, what's going on, why do I feel this way. It's very scary at that time in your life. It's hard to stay sober because what happens is when you go through all that pain, that suffering, like you're in Maryhaven, and we try to experience, tell them our experience, strength, and hope, is this afterwards, as you're sober for longer periods of times, you forget how it was when you were like that. So today, while me having, the sobriety that I have, if I don't remember what had happened, I'm doomed to repeat it. And that's what's really about today, is that's why I keep going back, is to remind myself that I have this disease.
Can you describe your experience in school?
Well, what I can remember of it. Once I had buckled down, I know that 10th, 11th, and 12th was pretty much just going to school, and because I had to catch up because I missed a lot of grades and stuff like that because I had failed pretty much most of my 10th grade year. But my 11th and 12th year, I just buckled down. I'm into history. World War II was one of my strong things. I even played chess. And as a matter of fact, I remember one time I went in there and I played one of the teachers that had the chess club. And I beat him in 6 moves. And he was angry, but that was fun, and I wrestled and played a little basketball, I didn't really, more or less I just, school was there. I didn't really work as hard as I should have, but I got through it.
And where did you go to school?
I went to Briggs High School.
And how far away was that from your house?
Oh, probably maybe a couple miles.
So how early did you have to get up in order to walk to school?
I think I got up about 6:30 to get there by, I think 7:30 we started. I really can't remember, but my senior year, though, I used to walk down the street, and David lived down the street. He had a nice Camaro race car, and we used to drive to school in that. But he was always late.
So was school easy for you, in a sense?
No, I don't know if it was easy, but I think it was that I don't know, I feel that the teachers just wanted to get me through at that time because it was a public school and they liked me and I worked as hard as I could, but could I have worked harder? Yes. I could have done better? Yes. I could have done a lot better. So I got by.
Did you feel discouraged from your teachers?
No, not really. They didn't understand, and I didn't blame them for anything, but they did the best they could for what they had available.
Where did you go to school your 9th grade year?
Mohawk, we got bused. So it was one year in Mohawk downtown.
And do you remember anything from your 9th grade year? Like what topics you covered in like history and English? And
yeah, I remember there was an English teacher there, and I can't remember her name, but I do remember her. But she helped me a lot, and I got into Edgar Allan Poe. I liked the poetry. I used to try to make my own poetry and stuff, and and I remember writing a few stories here and there. But 9th grade was more, it was a bad year. That was when I was really heavy into the bad things in my life, and I was suspended a few times, and it wasn't the best time, but it was what it was.
Are there any other memories from high school that stick in your mind?
Well, there's quite a few, but I think the most hilarious thing that we ever done, we were clowning around. He had to step out, and we stuck super glue all over his chair. and when he got up, it ripped. Oh, he was mad, and he never did find out who did that. That was probably, sorry, Mr. McCarty, but we had a lot of fun in high school.